What's good? It's your boy 2K here. Shout out to the movement and everybody who's moving with us. For this one is gonna be a what's hot. And what's hot right now, finally, Demetrius Andrade makes the correct decision for his career. Earlier today, he announced he will be leaving Star Boxing and Banner Promotions. Banner Promotions is run by Arthur Palullo, and of course, Star Boxing is run by Joe DeGuardia. Joe DeGuardia is known in America for putting together fights with highly touted prospects or smaller known fighters who are getting ready to climb up that ladder to become possibly a highly touted prospect based on the fights that they win, right? Now, of course, with him leaving Star Boxing and Banner Promotions, he had a fight on the bill for July 21st against Yamaguchi Falco. This would have been his first fight since beating Alantez Fox on HBO back in October last year. Now that fight is off the bill because apparently, you know, that fight was going to be under Star Boxing and Banner Promotions. With him no longer being with them, he's not going to have that date of that fight anymore. So now he's a promotional free agent. And this is the best fucking thing that Demetrius Andrade has done his entire career. Now, of course, he's a 10-year pro, and he's been with these guys his entire career. He debuted in, what, October of 2008, I believe? And it's 2018. So he debuted at 20 years old. Now he's 30 years old. He's finally making the right decision. So he pretty much, I won't say he lost 10 years because he was able to become a two-time champion. But there's a lot of things that Demetrius Andrade could have been able to accomplish if he would have had a more named promotional company representing him, right? I mean, with Star Boxing and Banner Promotions, these motherfuckers have no clout, you know, point blank and period. You know what I'm saying? I could put up $2,000 in a motherfucking purse bid against Star Boxing and Banner Promotions, and I might win the purse bid. You know what I'm saying? Shit, 2K Boxing Promotions will win the purse bid against these two entities, man. That's how much clout they don't have. So Demetrius Andrade, he was making it hard for himself because he's already a very highly skilled, very talented fighter, right? So the bigger names in the sport are not going to be so willing to fight him right away. Unless, of course, they're Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, unless they have the mentality of those guys, right? Not saying those guys are trying to fight Demetrius Andrade, but the mentality that, you know, a Jarrett Hurd, a Terrence Crawford, or Errol Spence, the mentality that these guys have, they'll fight anybody. They don't give a fuck, right? But unfortunately, when Demetrius Andrade was at 154, there wasn't that many guys that had that particular mentality. Erislandy Lara had that mentality, and those two were in negotiations, I think, what, 2 or 3 times? But it turned out that all 3 times or all 2 times, Demetrius Andrade was at fault for why those negotiations fell through. Then, of course, in December 2014, he was supposed to fight Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo was game. Demetrius Andrade pulled out of that fight. And it has something to do with some promise to sign with PBC and Al Heyman or some shit like that. I can't exactly remember, but I know it was something. It had something to do with that. But Demetrius Andrade, the deal with Al Heyman fell through, and the fucking fight fell through. You know what I'm saying? So he was left out in the cold. Jermell Charlo went on to become a champion in the division. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, at that time, Demetrius Andrade, I believe, was the WBO 154-pound champion. Canelo Alvarez was his fucking mandatory. But see, Canelo, of course, at that time was protected by Oscar De La Hoya, right? And even though Demetrius Andrade, who was the champion, was actually chasing Canelo, who was his #1 contender, Canelo elected to fight Alfredo Angulo on pay-per-view, and it was a smart move because it was a possibility at that time he might have lost to Demetrius Andrade, right? And with Star Boxing and Banner Promotions being the promotional entities that back him, they don't have any fucking clout to basically put up the dough to convince Oscar De La Hoya to make such a huge risk putting his cash cow Canelo in the ring with the Demetrius Andrade. That was the problem. So they easily just moved around him. You know, the WBO didn't mandate that fight. They moved around him, fought Alfredo Angulo on pay-per-view. And then, of course, after that, they fought Erislandy Lara, which was a good pick. You know what I'm saying? I can't get mad at them for picking Lara over Andrade. But the point is, when was the last time you've actually seen a champion really chasing his #1 contender like that? You know what I'm saying? Usually the champion is the one trying to make fights outside of fighting his #1 contender. Usually the sanctioning bodies are the ones that are having to mandate these fights to happen, right? And typically, you know, a champion is really looking to unify in the division. He's looking at the other champions. That's typically why they don't jump to fight their mandatories so soon. Once they get a belt, they're looking for the big money fights, right? And they're looking to basically get that legacy defining win, at least a win to boost their legacy anyway. Let me say that. So you don't really typically see champions chasing their #1 contenders, but he was doing it here. Then when the shit flipped, Demetrius Andrade was the #1 contender, and Canelo Alvarez was a WBO champion after he defeated Liam Smith. Demetrius Andrade was calling his ass out all over the place, but again, being backed by Star Boxing and Banner Promotions, they don't have the clout to be able to get their fighter in a situation where Oscar De La Hoya will want to negotiate such a risky fight. You know what I'm saying? Because the money's not there. So this is an excellent move. There was a lot of, you know, like I said, like I just gave you examples of a lot of different fights that Demetrius Andrade could have been involved in. You had the Sergey Devryanchenko fight that they were trying to make twice. The first time it was going to be on HBO, but HBO didn't like the money that was put up for it. And they were looking at the Alantez Fox fight. They're like, man, fuck that shit, man. Get this nigga out of here. You know what I'm saying? So HBO was like, man, we're not gonna put the money up to actually sanction that fight. We're probably not gonna get anything in return on that fight. Not sanction, but broadcast the fight. So they turned it down. Then ESPN tried to pick it up, and they saw the same thing. Like, well, damn, we can't really, you know, we don't think we're gonna get a return on the money we put down to actually broadcast that fight. So we're not gonna take it either. So the Devryanchenko fight couldn't fall through, or it actually fell through. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, he really needs somebody backing him that will get the attention, or at least have the money, the monetary incentive, right, to get the attention of these bigger name fighters, promotional companies that back them, to be able to give them a reason to want to take a risky fight. And the only reason is money. So this is an excellent opportunity for him. Hopefully, I mean, he could explore Dazn, what Eddie Hearn is doing right now. He can explore maybe Al Heyman and PBC. You know what I'm saying? Fuck it. If I understand that Demetrius Andrade doesn't really want to be backed by a big entity because he feels like it's hard to trust promoters in this game, and he's right. This is a snaky ass game. I've talked to a lot of managers, and they've given me a lot of stories about whenever they had their fighter in negotiations or meetings anyway with promoters, there was some snaky ass shit that's happened. Talked to a couple managers that told me some gruesome ass stories. You know what I'm saying? So he's right about that. So, you know, maybe he doesn't sign with those guys. Maybe he takes the route of a Mikey Garcia and becomes a promotional free agent and is able to lure some of the bigger fights, right? Mikey Garcia was able to lure Adrian Broner, Dejan Zlaticanin. You know, Zlaticanin allowed him to become a champion at 135. You know, what's my other guy? Sergey Limpinets allowed him to become a champion at 140. You know what I'm saying? So maybe he could go that route. Maybe he could lure those bigger fights. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? But for me personally, I think that this would be the one time that I say he should sign with one of those bigger entities like Top Rank, because at 30 years old, he really hasn't done much. He's a two-time champion, but he really hasn't done much in the way of getting a big legacy-defining name on his record. He's an excellent fighter. I mean, look what he did to Willie Nelson. You know what I'm saying? He fought Vanez Martirosyan, and it was a split decision. And a lot of cats actually say that motherfuckers are stupid, man. All about the hair now. They say that Demetrius Andrade looked bad against Vanez Martirosyan, so he's not a good fighter. Vanez at that time only had a draw. He was an undefeated fighter. He only had the draw with Erislandy Lara. You know what I'm saying? So when Andre fought him, he was a game opponent that was undefeated, and Vanez Martirosyan has been an excellent fighter since the amateurs. You know what I'm saying? He's been giving Cash trouble since then. So I've always liked Vanez Martirosyan, and he, you know, Demetrius Andrade was able to get up off the canvas in that fight and win by split decision. You know what I'm saying? He's an excellent fighter. So he really needs a big promotional entity that's willing to put up the guap, the ducats, you know what I'm saying, the greenbacks for you dumb motherfuckers out there, the money. You know what I'm saying? To basically coerce these bigger name fighters to want to take that risk. So it is what it is. Congratulations to him for making the best decision of his career. Next, my man, Isaac Dogboe. He's returning to the ring August 25th. Now, if you don't know who Isaac Dogboe is, he's the guy that basically had an interview with my man Willie the Kid over on his channel a few months back before he actually fought Jesse Magdaleno. And his pops was basically saying that he was going to send Jesse Magdaleno back to Mexico or some shit like that. It was a controversial statement. A lot of people didn't agree with it. That video had a lot of views and I had a lot of blowback with people saying that they didn't like Isaac Dogboe's father. But a lot of people got to understand, like over in the UK, they don't understand exactly what's going on over here in America. You know what I'm saying? So they say certain shit and they don't understand the repercussions. They say certain shit dealing with America and they don't understand the repercussions that could follow from American fans, right? And he mentioned something about Trump dealing with that shit. So it was a stupid ass statement. But the one thing I can say is that Isaac Dogboe went in the ring this past April and backed it up, right? A lot of people thought that Jesse Magdaleno was going to beat the fuck out of him after he heard that statement. And, I mean, it was the other way around. Isaac Dogboe was able to knock Jesse Magdaleno out in the 11th round. Of course, he got up off the canvas. I believe Magdaleno knocked him down in the 2nd round. But he got up and basically just muscled him, out-muscled him, pressured the fuck out of him, beat him up on the inside. Isaac Dogboe's stamina is off the charts. Dude doesn't get tired, while Jesse Magdaleno was getting tired by every round because of the body work of Isaac Dogboe. And he just basically wore him down and got him out of there. And Jesse Magdaleno is a definite top-level fighter in that division, which is 122 pounds. So that was an excellent win. That put Dogboe on the map. So a lot of people right now got their eyes on him. What is he going to do next? Well, he's looking for a unification bout when he returns August 25th. And right now he's in negotiations with Danny Roman. Now, if you don't know who he is, Danny Roman just defeated Moises Flores on the undercard of Errol Spence versus Carlos Ocampo a couple weeks ago, right? Now, if you don't remember who Moises Flores is, see this domino effect, I gotta go, hey, if you don't know this nigga, you don't know this nigga, you don't know this nigga. But see, that's why I say fuck with my channel. Because every time I talk about cats, I'm gonna take it all the way down to the fucking white meat and I'm gonna break it all the way down. And I'm gonna give you a little bit of each fighter so you can remember who these guys are. You don't remember Moises Flores, that's the cat that was knocked out by Guillermo Rigondeaux, but they called it a no contest. I think they were trying to disqualify Rigo at first. No, I'm sorry. They were saying that it was a legal blow and it went down as a knockout. Then it was reviewed. Then they went back and said, nah, it's a no contest, which was right because the shot was after the bell. So Moises Flores was able to keep his undefeated record, but he got in the ring against Danny Roman in order to challenge for that WBA regular 122-pound title, and he lost. It was the sheer body work of Daniel Roman. It was actually the body work and his ability to keep his composure as Moises Flores was basically pressuring the fuck out of him the entire fight. He kept throwing punches. He kept getting on top of Danny Roman, but Roman played his cool. He allowed him to bring the pressure, but he beat up the body. And that took a lot of the snap off of Moises Flores' shots by like round 5. You know what I'm saying? They weren't even in the second half of the fight yet. And it allowed him to dictate the pace, have beautiful ring generalship, and he showed excellent boxing ability, particularly on the inside from mid-range distance to the inside. So Danny Roman is a good fighter. He has 2 losses, but he hasn't lost in a long time. He's a very good fighter. I think this is an excellent fight at 122. And when Roman defeated Moises Flores, he mentioned fighting either Isaac Dogboe, Ray Vargas, or Iwasa. I believe that's the IBF champion over in Japan. You know what I'm saying? So he talked about fighting one of those 3 guys to unify in his next fight. So that's why we got a negotiation here. So if that fight goes down August 25th, if they come to terms, that's an excellent fight, people. Isaac Dogboe versus Danny Roman. Don't forget about that shit. Let's go to the next one. Now, this will be like the top story of this Was Hot segment. Eddie Hearn is basically begging Deontay Wilder to sign a 2-fight deal with Dazn. Now, if you add it up, it's a 2-fight, $20 million deal with Dazn. Of course, Dazn is the new streaming project that Eddie Hearn is a part of, that will allow people to pay, like, I believe $12 a month to get at least 60 fights to stream over an app called Dazn, right? And of course, he's been on this campaign to sign a lot of fighters in America to feature on Dazn, which will be a good opportunity for a lot of fighters, American, UK, Filipino, whatever, whoever he's approaching. It'd be a good opportunity, because the future of being able to view sports and entertainment is through streaming, right? You can even see, like, a lot of premium cable TV, you can stream them instead of getting into these, you know, these robbery of cable packages and shit. Got to pay $200 a month for like 900 channels when you only watch 3 of them motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't have cable. That's why I haven't had cable for years. And you know, you see, you can stream HBO over Roku and shit, or you can stream Showtime over your Roku. That's the future of television viewing, is streaming, right? So he's trying to get Deontay Wilder in order to showcase him on a 2-fight deal. The first fight, and the reason why I say he's begging him, because he said, hey, the first fight, I'll double his pay, what he's normally getting. I'll give this motherfucker $5 million. $5 million. And he could fight anybody. I don't give a shit. Just come to Dazn. Now, of course, that anybody is most likely going to be Dominic Breazeale. I've been telling you cats this for months now. It'll most likely be Dominic Breazeale. But Eddie Hearn doesn't give a fuck, because the second fight is going to be the offer that Deontay Wilder already agreed to, which was $15 million to fight Anthony Joshua in the UK. That's the second fight. Now, I mentioned earlier when we, myself and the other 2 kings talked about this topic, I said, basically, man, it's just going according to script. As you all know, I thought this whole Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua situation was a ploy. I mentioned that Alexander Povetkin and Dominic Breazeale were always there for both of these guys, but this was a way to basically hype up this fight, to milk the intrigue of the fans in order to get this fight made next year, possibly at the end of this year, but I think it will be next year. And the fans will be intrigued, whether they're pissed off or not, they're still going to watch this fight. You know what I'm saying? Negative press is good press. Right now, Eddie Hearn's getting a lot of negative press from fans, but it doesn't matter. If he makes the fight, which he thinks he wants to make it April 13th, if Wilder signs with Dazn, then fans are gonna watch it. Doesn't fucking matter. He understands fans are fickle, and that's why I think he was willing to put his name on the line to be able to milk this fight, or marinate this fight, in order to have it next year. Fans are fickle. They could be mad today, but be happy as fuck tomorrow if you give them what they want. And this is exactly what he's gonna do. You know what I'm saying? So I think it was a brilliant job by Eddie Hearn and all of those guys. It wasn't just him. Al Heyman, Shelly Finkel, everybody's involved, people. This is business. Again, take your fucking emotions out of it and think about it for a second. It's business. You know what I'm saying? So it's a brilliant situation. The one thing that is attached to this is that Deontay Wilder does not have to commit to signing to Matchroom Sport. It's only committing to showcase him over the streaming app Dazn. That's all it is. And this, of course, will help Eddie Hearn tremendously if he gets a lot of views from an Anthony Joshua Deontay Wilder fight. I mean, that fight is going to get a lot of views regardless. But if Dazn is the head source promoting this particular fight, and it brings in, you know, over, 2 million views and shit, then a lot of other fighters are going to see that, and they're going to want to do business with Eddie Hearn and Dazn. So it's an excellent opportunity for Wilder, in my opinion. It's an excellent opportunity for Eddie Hearn to get that shit off the ground. So we'll see what happens, but it's funny how he's just begging this motherfucker, bro, nigga, I got these cheeseburgers, man. I got these cheeseburgers. On that Menace to Society shit, you know what I'm saying? That's what Eddie Hearn's doing right now, and rightfully so. YouTube, do what you do in the comment section. Let me know what you think about these topics, but be real. This is real talk for real fans. 1.